I've seen a lot of people theorizing that post Phantom Nightmare, they're going to be playing Ghost Belle in their deck lists. And so I wanted to get a nice little video together where we go over every card that could potentially be hit by Ghost Belle, so you that haven't been playing it in a while know what you're going to hit with it. And real quick, before we get into the video, one shout out, two disclaimers. So 3 things total. I just made a Discord where me and a friend of mine are going to be hosting tournaments with card prizes. If you guys are interested in that, I'll leave the link in the description. Join and let me know if you enjoy it. Let us know in the comments too. 2 other things. In the comments section, if there's any cards I missed, let me know. And lastly, this video is not going to be covering whether or not this is the correct spot to use Belle against the deck. It's just the spots that you could potentially use, because a lot of game states don't call for you to hit it in the right spot, but the right spot for that game state. So it's important to know every possible spot you could use it in. But turn 0, Belle's the only card in your hand. What's the right spot to hit is something I want to discuss with you guys and kind of learn in the comments. And that's about it, though. So I'm going to just kind of get into it, cover it, and kind of try to go fast, because a lot of you know what these cards do already, but you just might not know that they were able to be belled. So to start, I got like a lot of the Fire King decks. Also, one more disclaimer, I guess. The way I came up with this list was I kind of went through the OCG's meta report, looked at all their deck lists, and looked at every card that could be belled. And so we have Circle of the Fire Kings. This card destroys a fire monster you control to summon one from grave. It can be belled. This card has the effect that if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, target a Beast Warrior, Wing Beast monster in your grave except itself, special it. The Fire King High Avatar Kirin, during the main phase of this card's in your hand, destroy another monster you control, special it. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, special a Fire King from your hand or graveyard. So Belle can stop that. Ponix also has an effect that could be belled. I don't remember which effect it is. I'm not that good with these new cards yet. Which, during the next standby phase after this card was destroyed and sent to the graveyard, add this card from your graveyard to the hand. Sacred Fire King Garunix. Which one can we bell? If your monster that was originally fire is destroyed by battle or card effect, special this card from your graveyard. Bell that jaunt. Then we've got Snake Eye Oak, who reborns a level 1 fire from graveyard. You can bell that. Wanted, summon or searches from deck or grave, so you can bell that. The Dia Bellstar, the Black Witch, you can't bell her effect to set a card because it's not setting from deck or grave, it's just setting. But you can bell the effect to send a card from your hand or field to the graveyard if you do special this card. That is when, I believe, if this card sent from its owner's hand or field to the graveyard. So if your opponent were to out this in some sort of way, you can bell its Reborn effect. Call by the Grave is a staple in most hand trap heavy formats. This format coming up is perceived to be hand trap heavy. You can bell that motherfucking card. This card only summons from deck, but you can use its ability on the next turn to put itself back, add a card from grave to hand, bell. Jet Synchron, discard a card to reborn it, bell. DD Crow, it might be popular. People are talking about using this to counter the fire deck, bell. Magnamut and all the other bestials, bell. Another card that people are perceiving to be good against the Fire King deck, Soul Release. Banish 5 from their grave. Helps out a lot of their disruptions, including another card that can be belled. The new Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames, which can be belled, but also the out to it, bell. The new Voiceless Voice deck, I guess Silent Forcer is what they're calling it here. I got 2 or 5 cards technically that could be belled in this archetype. I don't remember which effects. Let me read them real quick. You can discard this card, send a ritual spell from your deck to the graveyard, then add a light warrior or dragon from your deck or grave to your hand. Bell. This card, Novox, the Silent Forcer Disciple. You can ritual summon exactly 1 light warrior dragon ritual monster with a card effect that requires use of monsters. This card... Oh, if you ritual 1, this can be used as the whole tribute. That part, not bell. But this card's normally specialed. Place a Silent Force spell trap from your deck face up in your spell trap zone. Not bell. If a light warrior and or dragon ritual monster is special summoned to your field while this card's in your graveyard, you can special this card. That one you can bell. Then we've got the tree. I don't know how to say that. Trius Hierarchia. I guess this is another thing to chime in the comments. How the hell do you say this card's name? But this card, during the main phase of this card's in your hand or graveyard, quick effect, tribute 3 as cost, special it, bell. Only if it's in grave. You can't Bell it if it's in hand, I don't think. Then we have pre-prep and actual prep. Add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand and add a ritual monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, Bell. And then this one, add a level 7 Alero ritual from your deck to your hand. Then you can add a ritual spell from grave to hand, Bell. The Albon, I do have a couple of branded cards in here. They're not in the fire deck, but I've heard people speculating that branded is going to be good against the fire deck. It has a decent matchup. I don't know if that's true, but figured I'd show you which cards in that matchup you can Bell. You can Bell Albon if it were to summon from grave. You can Bell Branded in red because it adds from grave to hand then fusions. And you can Bell Nadir Servant because it adds from deck or grave to hand. Quem, you can also Bell its Reborn effect. I'm sure you guys can tell now, too, that these are cards I actually know, so I don't have to read them. But I'm still getting back into the game, so I don't know all these new cards 100%. I got to read them to tell you where you can Bell. But you can Bell Blazing Cartesius effect to add from grave to hand. You can Bell the Incredible Ecclesia to add from grave to hand. Monster Reborn is a card that is not often played in the meta, but a lot of people are kind of speculating this card will see play because a lot of decks are just like fire decks, or they play the Wanted engine with the Diabell Star. And if you brick, but you drew some hand traps in a Monster Reborn, you hand trap them to fucking death, Monster Reborn their starter, give them the middle finger, win the game. But you don't win the game if your opponent has Bell. Tragedy to add from grave to hand, Bell. This is a niche one. I don't know if Flu is going to be good, but this actually came up for me in a regional like a year ago in Detroit. Shout out my boy Sage, who I went with. I played Fluandereeze. I main decked Bell. I played a mirror match. He was not able to chain block Stree. I belled him. He lost the duel. If you're that guy, I'm sorry you lost to a card that sucks against your deck. Shit happens. Rescue Ace HQ. The shuffle 4 in the deck. Draw a card. Whoa. Grave to deck. Bell. Alert. Which effect can we Bell? Add a Rescue Ace monster from your graveyard to your hand. Bell. You said grave. Bell. Alert. Or rescue. I just said alert. What the hell? Target a Rescue Ace monster in your graveyard. Bell. The Water Enchantress of the Temple. I don't know if this card will actually see play, but it's worth knowing that if they use this, you can Bell. The Unchained Soul of Shyama's Reborn effect. Pop a card special itself. Bell. Abominable Unchained Soul. Which effect can you Bell again? If a card you control is destroyed by a card effect, sells a card from your hand. If this card's special, destroy a card. That card, nope, Bell. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card's in the graveyard because it was destroyed on the field and sent this turn, you can special this card, but place it on the bottom. Bell. The DDD Vice King Requiem. Which effect can you Bell on this? What the heck? I think it's the effect it gives the XZ. It gives you an XZ effect. I don't feel like reading this because it's too much text, but you can Bell it. Dark World Puppetry. I actually was watching an Unchained deck profile that got first place at a regional, and I saw this card. And this card is a variation of Soul Exchange, where it's a quick effect, banish 3, discard a Fiend. It works in Fiend decks, and it also can be Belled. The Arius, the Labyrinth Butler, and all the other furniture pieces in the Labyrinth deck all have the effect to either Reborn or add themselves from grave to hand. Those can be Belled. Ooh, excuse me. More a little baby burp right there. Big Welcome Labyrinth. Specials from deck or grave and then bounces. Bell. Bell. Can't be Belled, but I put it there so I remembered what card I was talking about. Next, we got Link Karibo, which some decks are playing to chain block hand traps and stuff. Not chain block, but dodge. Like, it helps you dodge Valor and stuff in certain decks. Also, if you're playing Orcus and you use Gearsu to summon level 1 token, you need to make it an effect monster so you can make Link Karibo. I don't know why you would Bell Link Karibo's Reborn effect, but you can. Another thing to point is that a lot of decks will be playing Hida or the Dark Charmer, but Bell stops every Charmer. They all summon from grave, they all get Belled. Fire decks are going to be playing Sunlight Wolf. What does this card do? Add from grave to hand. What does Bell do? Stop cards that add from grave to hand. We've got the Amphibious Swarm Ship Ambler. This card, when it's destroyed, I believe summons a link 3 or lower from grave. Summon from grave, Bell. Yep. This card, you can banish it. Or not banish it. Let me read what this does. It's new. I'm forgetful. You cannot special summon monsters except fires. This only applies while it's on the field. You can only use each effect once per turn. During the main phase, you can special summon a fire monster from your graveyard. Bell. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field while this card's in your graveyard, you can target one fire monster you control, one card your opponent controls, destroy them. If you do special this card, activate Ghost Belle. No, you won't. Some decks are going to play Celine because it can reborn the Diabell Star, but we're going to activate Belle. Dynamondo. This deck, or not this deck, this card is going to be played potentially in the Ritual deck. I feel like every Ritual deck plays this, but we've only really seen it used in Drytron because Rituals are fucking old and suck, and Drytron's the only deck that made them not suck, but they're still old. But this card, during your opponent's turn, quick effect, tribute this card, target a Ritual monster in your graveyard, add it to hand or special it. Belle. Also, it has the effect, if this card special summon, target a card on the field and a Ritual monster in your graveyard, shuffle both into the deck, you can activate Belle. In regards to the Despia cards I was talking about earlier, you can Belle Albon to banish to summon. You could Belle Albion to summon 2. You could Belle Renbrum to banish to summon Fallen of Albaz. You could Belle back to Unchained Soul or Rage. Not as on-field effect. You can Belle his when he's destroyed to add from grave to hand. You can Belle Yama. Which Yama effect can you even Belle again? When this card's special, to add an Unchained monster from deck or grave to hand, Belle. And then I believe this also... if a card you control is destroyed by a battle or card effect, banish this card from your grave as cost. Special a fiend monster from hand or what's that? Graveyard? Belle. Then we've got this other Unchained card. I think it's the same effect. If this card on the field is destroyed by a battle or card effect, target a fiend monster in your grave, add it to hand, Belle. And then lastly, I got Muckracker. This card just reborns a fiend, Belle. So if you guys feel like there's any cards that I missed, again, let me know in the comments. And this is only really covering cards in like 3 or 4 archetypes that can be Belled because these are the most relevant ones. If you check my channel, I have an older video called something along the lines of the definitive guide to using Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chiller, or whatever this card's called. Is that how you say its name? Ghost Belle and Haunted Mansion. I just said the whole wrong hand trap. But yeah, I have another guide covering that on older archetypes. So if there's decks you want to counter that you don't see here, visit that. If there are decks that I covered here that you think I missed a card, let me know. And if there are cards, or not if there are, but there's obviously decks that have multiple targets. If you only open Belle, let me know in the comments what you think is the optimal one to hit. And last but not least, again, the Discord. I'll have it linked in the description. If you guys want to play in tournaments for cards, go and play there because we know, God forbid, Konami give us good prize support. Thank you guys for watching. Take it easy.